All right, so now we're going to go to one of the most important elements of the game. Outside of balance and outside of control, the number one punch and the last thing that should ever go is your jab, okay? You got so many people that are trying to tell you, and I've heard from coaches, respected coaches, I'm not calling anybody, bringing anybody down or talking bad about anybody or what they teach, but they have the notion that there's different types of jabs. I've heard that, and that's all great. It's actually one jab. You just hold the elements and you apply it, okay? It may come from a different angle, it may come from a different elevation or whatnot, but there's one jab. The minute you start trying to convince yourself there's more than one jab, you actually take your jab and you kind of water it down and use it in different ways. So if you want that consistent, you want that freaking controlled, effective punch, and let that tool work the way it's supposed to work, let that weapon work the way it's supposed to work, then you work on the elements and you practice it one way, okay? And you're gonna understand that once we finish demonstrating and kind of explaining it. Now, first off, what I want to do is I want to dispel some things that are staples in the game of boxing. Now, you're gonna have some people that are gonna disagree with this. Granted, that's your prerogative. You can do what you want to do with that. But I'm telling you this is effective. I'm telling you it works. And we're going to go over it and kind of really explain it so that you can make up your own mind. I'm not forcing anybody to do anything. You can make up your own mind. Now, what you'll have is different ways of throwing the jab. You'll have guys that will throw the jab and they lean into it. They get off balance when they throw their jab. Meaning, if they throw a jab that's short, in order to compensate for that, they'll throw the same jab off the front foot, coming off the back foot, leaning into it. So the minute you come and you throw your jab and you're leaning into it, you have now just disrupted the whole mechanics of the jab. Okay, because from here, hit or miss, your next move is to catch your balance. Okay? Balance is so important because what you don't lose, you don't go looking for. So if you can maintain your balance, you don't have to waste the time to catch your balance or regain your balance. Okay? So we want to always focus on eliminating having to regain your balance. Okay? So now, before we even go into what we shouldn't do, we're going to go into to run through the whole mechanics of the jab. When you're coming off the jab, your feet should already be in place when you throw the jab. So your feet should constantly be moving anyway, always repositioning. So when you maintain that true boxer stance and everything and all the elements are aligned, when you make a step, you step from the true boxer stance, boom, into the true boxer stance, there's your jab. It should be there every time you make that step. So if I step to either side, my jab should be right there when I step. Okay? So now, one concept that you can work on is, let's say there's a plate suspended in the air, there's an apple on the top of that plate. Okay? When I'm here and I want to throw that jab, I want to reach out, snatch that apple, and bring it home. Okay? That's the direct movement on the jab. What your brain will tell you to generate speed and power is to generate it in a circular motion. So that's why you see so many people, when they throw their jab, they roll it back, come in here, and bring it low. All right? I slowed that down, but when you see a lot of guys throw their jab, it looks just like this. Okay? Because the brain is telling them that this circular motion that they're creating is fast and it's powerful. That is a lie. Your brain is straight lying to you. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to override that. And when you come off of here, you want to take your jab straight out as if you're grabbing an apple and you're bringing it in. The reason we add that element is because so many people will throw the jab. So many people throw punches, period, simply to make contact. And then whatever happens after that contact, they throw the form away. Okay? So the form has to be on the send and the resend. Okay? So you want to bring it all the way back into here, and back into here. You're not stepping into the jab. You're not leaning into the jab. is from back here. So when you rotate, keeping the stability into your hips, send the jab and you come right back home. There is no overcompensation of the foot. Okay, you'll see a lot of people that will tell you when you throw hooks, when you throw jabs, roll your foot. They'll tell you that. It just makes you more unstable. You lose all your stability simply by rotating too far. The only rotation you need is to line it straight up. Everything lines up on the jab. From here, back. Here, back. Here, back. That's it. Making sure that it comes back home here. The faster you can do this and the easier and the more comfortable you are with bringing this here, the more effective that jab is. You don't have to throw it, reset it, throw it, reset it, throw it, reset it. So you get rid of the reset simply by putting it back where you found it. Comes right back. So now you can come off this jab all day. It's the exact same jab every time you throw it. The minute we start with this circular motion, your jabs get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker because you're not maintaining the balance, you're not maintaining the stability behind it. So when you can come in here, and if the jab starts here, it finishes right here. You should never be throwing a double jab, and when you stop, your feet are wider than when you started. Okay? Everything comes right back. So if I throw this jab, and you realign, I'm right back in my true boxer stance. After every shot, you're right back in your true boxer stance. And you have the ability to move and generate movement and have the offense off every step. Okay? So we don't want to step into the jab. We don't want to lead with our head into the jab. We don't want to throw your head offline. That's another one that people always teach. Stop that. I want to address that. If I'm shooting a rifle and I really want to hit the target that I'm aiming at, the best way to hit that target is looking through the sights, whether it's the scope, whether it's open sights, whatever. I have a better chance of hitting that target by looking through the sights, as opposed to firing my rifle and looking down the side of it. Okay? If the one thing that my opponent doesn't want is to get hit, then this rifle, I can shoot my jab out here, and if he moves offline, if he moves away from the jab, then I meet him over here. So I'm actually making myself a bigger target or a more accessible target by moving offline. The safest place for me to be is behind that rifle. That's the last place they're going to try to fire. It's the last place they're going to try to score. It's from behind that rifle. They're looking for whatever's flying out of the side and whatever's open, whatever's being exposed, whatever is flashing is what they're going to shoot at. So when I come in here and I throw my jab, I want it from behind my rifle. If I step over, it's still lined up here. I'm throwing my rifle here. Okay? Thing about the jab, and what you'll see a lot in the movement on this jab is, as we're moving, you'll see people shooting their jab and they're not behind it. As they move, they're not realigning and holding that true boxer stance. So if I'm going to move with that jab, I'm going to move and adjust to where I'm behind it. From here. I should not be moving and having the jab here and the rest of me out to the side here. Okay? And you'll do that without thinking. It comes natural. So we have to concentrate, be disciplined enough to hold this true boxer stance. So as you're moving, you're readjusting. Take it slow. Drill yourself. Take it slow so that your brain understands the concept, always realigning and coming back into that true boxer stance behind every punch, behind every step, behind every move. Okay? So now, here's what we're going to go over. We're going to go over what I call capping the jab. okay? The reason why this is effective is because the thing that you see a lot of is the whole back and forth movement. It's almost like we have just accepted that when it's my turn, then it's his turn, and it's my turn, then it's his turn, okay? So what you want to do is you want to be able to keep your balance, keep your form, keep your jab at the ready, okay? So when you see an opponent throwing his jab effectively, when he's able to throw his jab effectively and you're still sitting in here and he throws his jab and he's effective with it, that's when he's going to start running combinations on you. The minute he gets comfortable where he's landed that jab a couple of times, he's going to go into his combination, he's going to get more aggressive, okay? So what you want to do is that window, right after he throws his jab, you want to fill that window so he doesn't have the space or the comfort level to just continue running his offense. So when you have that happening, the minute one person throws his jab, you want to be able to come back and cap the jab as soon as he throws his jab, and then you cap the jab and it puts it back on the top. Everything comes right back to the step one, as opposed to having one person running his jab and getting comfortable, and that space that is left vacant after he throws that jab is where he's going to fill it in with other shots. Okay, so what you want to do is we're going to run this for a few minutes. Step back, step back. We're going to run this for a couple seconds so you can understand what it looks like. So now, as you see a jab, even if it's short, the fact that he threw that jab, he should actually have to be going back into a defensive mode in his mind. So there should always be something coming back at him. Okay? So now, when they start this and they're moving around and you see the jab coming, then you need to go ahead and cap that jab. Now, there you go. And then you run in and start the gap again. Don't let it sit. Don't let it sit. And then you tap the jab right over the top. Right over the top. Go. There you go. Now, as you can see this, you saw the 2-3 jabs come. The only reason why that comes is because he's sitting here waiting on the next jab. Okay? So now, if you see the jab coming here, take a half step and fire. Half step and there you go. And then there, and then it stops that combination thing from happening. Just like there you go. So now you always have a view of your opponent. You always have basically a reference point that you can always come back to, simply because you're not sitting in here and allowing someone to work into a better position because they're working off of 2, 3, 4 jabs at a time, and then they run into their offense. So at any point they send a jab, then you override it and you come right back through with another jab. There you go. And you move your feet and you punch. There it is. And you just make sure that nobody gets that foothold to start really running downhill with their offense. You don't want your opponent to have that. And if you can actually cap the jab and it causes him to pause, then you run your offense. Great. Good job, fellas. Good job.